All right. Welcome back to Black Bear News, where everything is connected. And the viewers are all smarter than the average bear. How y'all feeling? Good to see you. Am I live on Twitter? What's going on? We're live on Twitter, Rockfin, and on YouTube. Yeah, it was really quite chilly this morning, but the sun is out, so I imagine it's going to warm up. How y'all doing? Good to see you. Going south. Judy Truitt, Salt Lakers. Kameshwari pops in once in a while. How you doing? Thanks for being here, guys. My God, I was just listening to the most just low level like climate denial piece of garbage. You're feeling not so smart today, Gene? I don't know. Yeah, I'm feeling not so smart today either. Or also, shall I say. We all have those days, right? Hey, are you watching me on Twitter? If you're watching me on Twitter, retweet, like, share, comment, send me a comment from Twitter, if you will. Rockfin people. Got a few folks on Rockfin. Yeah, I was just listening to you were without power going south. What happened? That sucks. Let's see. Yeah, anyways, I was listening to this video, just some guy saying just the dumbest things about why global warming isn't real. I don't know. I should probably clip it. And just play it just to point out all the dumb. Whenever people are like, they bring somebody on who, doctor, professor, so and so, and these people never have charts, graphs, data points, studies. They're just like, well, it's just dumb. And they bring up some points, but it's like there's nothing to they're just really like. One of the things he said though that was funny. I guess I should fact check it. He said more people die in Africa of cold than heat. I was like, really? Is that? Yeah, I don't know. Sounds a little weird. Are people in Africa dying of the cold? I mean, maybe in South Africa? I don't know. You think it was maybe a fuse going south? One of his other points was, well, we're a tropical species. We love the heat. Sure. Except when it gets too hot. Except when it's too hot. Then that's a problem. It just everything he was saying was just so like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm listening to this. Oh, it's not, a lot of people don't like the heat necessarily. Oh, you're coming here to get radicalized, Kameshwari? Excellent. Yeah, I live and grew up in Southern California. I can tell you, I mean, the cold is the cold. More Africans succumb to Bill Gates. Ding, ding, ding. More Africans succumb to Bill Gates. The cold is unenjoyable for some people, but then I actually don't want to live where it's freaking. I don't want to live in Arizona. I don't want to live in Phoenix. Heck no. Where it's like 100 degrees all year long. No. And when it's hot here in Southern California, it's hot. It's freaking hot. The summers here can be somewhat brutal, and a lot of people don't like the summers here. They do not like the heat. They're just like, I'm miserable when it's hot. Myself, I find that Southern California is kind of the perfect place to be weather-wise because it doesn't really get that cold. Like, it never really gets that cold here in the winter. It gets cold for days and days in a row, and that can wear on your soul and all that kind of stuff, and you can just be like, oh, it's cold, but it's not that cold. It's really not that cold. Honestly, it's not that cold. You could actually get away with not having a heater in Southern California, in Los Angeles during the wintertime. You can get away with it. Easy. Like, nobody's going to succumb to freezing in nobody's going to succumb to freezing weather in Southern California. It's just not going to happen. Like, you got to be some kind of bonehead to do that, to freeze in Southern California. So it's very, very nice here. And the summer, the summers can be kind of brutal, but it never really gets that hot, and it's a dry heat. It's not a humid. It's not a Alabama, Florida, Louisiana heat where that is miserable. That's absolutely miserable. So it's this is like the best place to be. But whatever. Mini skirts year round. Is that what you're saying? Yeah, sure. Mini skirts sure. Why not? Which do you like more, Judy Truitt, New Mexico or Arizona? Flagstaff sounds great. Flagstaff seems pretty cool. I love the climate there. You do actually get snow, right? In Flagstaff. Sedona is beautiful too. I had never New Mexico has fewer people. Cool. Scott Andrews, when I grew up in West Covina, California, nobody had AC. Yeah, I mean, everybody has AC now, but I could see that. You could get by. I don't use AC during the summertime. It can be a little, there are some weeks where it's like, oh God, hot, but you can live. You're not gonna, you can live. You can figure it out. Get you a fan, get you a ceiling fan, get you a wet washcloth. I don't know. Tucson winters are lovely. Tucson seems like an interesting place. I've driven through Tucson several times. Never really been there for much of a spell though. Yeah, right down here. Anyways, y'all, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Kamashwari, you lived in Palm Springs and Desert Hot Springs for 10 years? Yeah. Oh, you're headed to Palm Springs. Cool. Sounds nice. Sounds real nice. What's up, Rockford people? How you doing? Denver says I've been wearing flip-flops for 3 straight years. Weather appropriate. Sounds good. I used to be a heavy flip-flop wearer. Not so much lately. All right. Y'all want to get into some stuff that's happening? Yeah, I got to find this clip of this dude, this bonehead that was talking about the reason why climate change was false. And it was just like, all right. Man, you're just bringing the science here, bro. Just they all say the same thing. It's just like, well, it's just a silly idea. It's just preposterous. Well, it's absolutely ridiculous, right? Like, oh, that's why climate change isn't real? Because it's ridiculous? Just like super scientific arguments like that? Well, in the past, it was really cold and then it was really hot. And that's why it just doesn't really matter. Okay. Tell me more. Huh? But the people that watch these shows are just like, this tastes good. Tastes good. Stupidity. Stupidity in the morning. Tastes great. Let's see. I also saw something else that was like pretty high on the stupid scale. Maybe I'll find it for you. Massive windstorm hits Shenzhen. I think this might be the same windstorm I showed the other day, but they're getting just. I wonder why they're getting these crazy winds and crazy floods. Did we cover this yesterday? I don't think we did. 2 months ahead of what we thought of as natural conditions. How long until everything bad comes too early and anything good too late? This is from Doomer Girl News. A massive flood at the Bay River is the earliest on record to hit China. In the highest category of a 4-tier classification system. According to Yin, the forecaster. Yin, the forecaster. Floods of this magnitude usually occur after late June. And if you've been paying attention, if you've been playing the climate change bingo at home, you know that over the last few years, China has been smacked around by massive floods. Multiple days of heavy rains have lashed southern China, unleashing deadly floods and threatening to upend lives. The lives of tens of millions of people as rescuers rush to evacuate residents trapped by rising waters. Guangdong Province, economic powerhouse home to 127 million people, has seen widespread flooding that has forced more than 110,000 people to be relocated. State media reported, citing the local government. The floods have killed at least 4 people in Guangdong, including a rescue worker. State news agency Xinhua reported Monday. At least 10 people remain missing, it added. Um, yeah. Yeah, that's happening. Um, since April 16th, sustained torrential rains have pounded the Pearl River Delta, China's manufacturing heartland and one of the country's most populated regions, with 4 weather stations in Guangdong registering record rainfall for April. The Pearl River Basin is subject to annual flooding from April to September, but the region has faced more intense rainstorms and severe floods in recent years, as scientists warn the climate crisis will amplify extreme weather, making it deadlier and more frequent. Judging from the flood control situation in recent years, climate warming and temperature rise have intensified and extreme heavy rainfall occurs every year, leading to torrential rains and floods. That is true. Where else is that happening on the planet? Oh, everywhere. Oh, yeah, everywhere. Last year, China encountered more intense and extreme downpours during the flood season than in previous years, with 72 national weather stations registering record daily rainfall and 346 stations breaking monthly records, according to the China Meteorological Administration. Since last week, at least 44 rivers in the Pearl River Basin have swelled above the warning line, threatening to burst their banks. I'll burst your banks, according to state broadcaster CCTV. On the Bay River, which flows into the Pearl River, authorities have warned of a once-a-century flood expected to reach 5.8 meters above the warning limit. The tributary had already burst its banks on April 8th, marking the earliest arrival of its annual flood season since records began in 1998, according to the Guangdong authorities. The massive flood at the Bay River is the earliest on record to hit China in the highest category of a 4-tier classification system. Floods of this magnitude usually occur after late June, he said. Yin. Aerial footage aired by CCTV on the weekend showed villages inundated by murky floodwaters, with only roofs and treetops visible in some places. Anyways, authorities raised the flood control emergency response for the Pearl River Delta to level 2 on Sunday, the second highest in the 4-tier system. Sorry. Many cities have suspended schools and hundreds of flights have been canceled in the metropolises of Guangzhou and Shenzhen. So, yeah, that's happening. Already did happen. Did, was, is happening. All right. Yang is a doomer. Yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you all. Yeah, this Sunday I'm going to do another music performance on my other YouTube channel. Sunday at 5 p.m. Pacific. So if you guys want to tune in, and watch the show, here's the link. You can register there. I'll throw this up on Rockfin and on Twitter too. Then what is this? Oh. That's funny. What happened? Did something happen in my audio? Say what? Oh, gospel music? Salt Lakers? No, it's not gospel. It's just a Sunday. It's just on a Sunday. But you guys can check that out. I also put a link on the video on Twitter. Right? All right. Got a few more viewers on Twitter. If you're watching on Twitter, give me a holler. Say hi. Get in the chat box. Let me know it's working. Yeah, my headphones kind of suck lately too. Yep, Deline. Yeah. I've there's some pretty great and harrowing documentaries about Chernobyl and the people that they sent in to clean up. Man, it's horrific. Horrific. I'm always perplexed by the people that are like, oh, radiation really isn't a bad thing. Nuclear energy is a lot safer than they tell you. Radiation isn't really that bad. No, it's not. It's not that bad. Is that why 3 Mile Island turned into a cancer alley after the incident, the meltdown incident? Did anybody watch the documentary about 3 Mile Island where everybody in the documentary turned up with cancer, 20, 30 years later? And just everybody who was there, everybody who stayed, everybody who was around, everybody had cancer. So that's always good, It's always great. And yes, the radiation in Chernobyl, yeah, when they sent the guys in, the first wave of people, they all died like real fast because the radiation was intense. And they all died really horrific deaths. That's also the thing about radiation too, is you don't know that you're going to die immediately, right? When you get radiation poisoning, you will feel okay for a while. You'll start developing a few symptoms. But over a certain amount of time, days and weeks, you're done. You are done. Yeah, I know. Yeah, it's a horrible story. It is a horrific story. Yeah, they could only be in there for a few seconds or minutes, and even then, they died. They sent those men to their death. They knew, they were like, you guys got to go in and clean this up and figure out what's going on. And, they basically just sent them in. There were all those frontline people just, they were gone. Goners. Horrible. It is horrific. So yeah, I'm always like the people that are like, oh, radiation isn't that big of a deal. I'm like, okay. Sure, dude. Next time there's a meltdown at a nuclear facility, why don't we send your ass in to go clean it up? Since it's not a big deal. You down to go? If they say no, ha ha, ain't a big deal. It's just such a full of shit. Like people will believe the stupidest stuff these days, just the dumbest nonsense these days, right? Based on like, kind of vague. There's a whole thing about Hiroshima. Like it's not really, everybody's fine there now, and it didn't really have any lasting effects, and it was all fine. And the exclusion zone around Chernobyl is, greener than ever, and it's just doing great. Radiation, I'm like, all right, okay, sure. Again, next time a nuclear facility melts down, I want you to go live next door, or if you already live next door, stay there. Just hang out if it's not a big deal. Just stick around. I'm sure it'll be fine. People are absolute loons. But people will believe any old nonsense. Right now there's a whole theory that like that George Soros is funding all the Israeli protests around the country. And though I'm sure there are agent provocateurs everywhere, everything is infiltrated, right? Everything is infiltrated, for sure. Every movement is infiltrated. But I saw this tweet. Here we go. Sean Kelly says Thunderfoot does good videos debunking nuclear power critics. Okay. Deline says they made it Thunderfoot. Okay, I'll look it up. Nuclear power has a lot of issues. A lot of issues. For one, it's just not that carbon. It's very carbon intensive. It's carbon intensive. It takes a lot of carbon to build a nuclear facility, for one thing. Shit ton of cement. Those things, and they only last for so long, right? They only last for so long. And what do you do with the waste? And how do you keep them cool in a climate that is not stable anymore? Right? So there's a lot more nuclear power facilities that are exposed to losing their ability to cool down. Or if we have a collapse, an economic collapse or energy collapse, what do you do? What do you do? Again, I ask, what do you do? Concrete is extremely carbon intensive. Yeah. I mean, I'm down to listen. I just find it I don't the evidence has been for a very long time that it's very bad for people and the planet. Radiation, excess radiation, the kind of radiation they're trying to release. And it's been pretty obvious that it's bad. Anyways. But I'm willing to listen to arguments. But again, next time a nuclear power plant melts down, Why don't you travel towards the plant and let me know how bad the radiation is? And if you tell me you don't want to do it, ha, then then your argument is bullshit. Your argument is bullshit. If you're not going to go towards the nuclear radiation, the power plant melting down because you want to prove to me that everything is okay, or if you live next to the power plant that's melting down and it melts down and you're going to be like, I'm staying because it's fine. Yeah, okay. The truth says this is why God gave the planet a magnetic field to protect against radiation. Indeed. Radiation bad. Radiation bad. I'll say it one more time. Radiation bad. Friends and neighbors. Hold on. All right. Let's see. Let's go back here. I missed a comment. Anyways, let's continue to move forward. Sean Kelly says the Green Party in Germany made a bad mistake shutting down 20 nuclear power plants, which they replaced with coal and renewable and coal. Yeah, I saw something about that, Sean. Sean Kelly also says coal smoke releases more radiation than nuclear energy. Is that true? I have to check into that. I saw that. I saw something about that. I personally think that they did the right thing, but I have to look into that story a little bit. I saw something about that. They replaced it with coal, renewable, and coal gas. Yeah, I mean, that's not great. I still, think that it's great that they shut down their nuclear power plants, but maybe they were, making a long-term decision based on the fact that they knew, that that the climate is going to get real wacky. Like, yeah, maybe you need that cheap, reliable energy right now, but maybe in the future, controlling these nuclear plants, keeping them cool or keeping them safe in a safe operating condition might be an issue. Maybe they were just working on, some long-term logic. I don't know. I think they were, and I think it's great, but we'll see. Time will tell, I guess. Here we go. Well, first of all, now I have too many. I have too many things I want to talk about now. Hold on. So here's another funny thing I saw today. When you're on Twitter and you just see stuff that just makes you just chuckle or belly laugh or guffaw, chortle. This is like this is just, I don't know. This is a weird one because I don't know what is this. This is actually like anti. Let's see. Sorry. Sure, sorry. From Disclosed TV. From the New York Post, George Soros is paying student radicals who are fueling nationwide explosion of Israel-hating protests. Again, so here's the deal. Again, there can be infiltrators in every movement. There can be people looking to use a movement for their own purposes, but for one thing, AIPAC and Israel control the entire media narrative around. They have a lock on what you can say about what Israel is doing. So I find this post interesting from the New York Post. So are so they're implying that Israel hating protests are wrong. Because you gotta love Israel and everything that they're doing. This is and they're blaming it on George. They're doing the old George Soros is funding this. Trying to get the right wingers. Apparently it's supposedly, I guess it's a right wing. The right wing loves the Israel and the Israel war, or something, because the left wing opposes it. I don't, whatever you want to say, but I think there's plenty of people against it across all political spectrums, right? But this is just goofy. This is just the dumbest thing. And also delegitimizes this, very legitimate protest. I had this, the George Floyd protest during the pandemic, had plenty of layers of weirdness to it, right? And there were plenty of people pointing out some things about it that seemed a little bit strange. And, even the George Floyd, the situation itself with him getting arrested and and murdered on the street. Plenty of, you could look at those things and point out, but people's anger around it and people's genuine feeling around, extrajudicial killings by police, right? Police brutality, mistreatment of black people at the hands of police, like that is very fucking legitimate, right? That's absolutely fucking legitimate. And people were, absolutely angry about that, on a legitimate level, right? So you may have had forces in there trying to absolutely the Democrats and the faux progressives absolutely co-opted all that. For all that messaging, right, to make them look good. We had what's her face, Bowser in DC, painting Black Lives Matter on the street, like look at me, I'm great, I'm progressive, I love people, right? You had plenty of people co-opting the movement for their own message, but they tried to. There are people that are like, oh yeah, I love this whole thing is just all fake. That the whole George Floyd thing is fake, and the protest. No. People have legitimate gripes, right? On the right and the left, people have legitimate issues, and it's best not to immediately delegitimize them. Maybe listen to what they have to say, take their complaint seriously, and try to understand that maybe you might have more in common with what they're angry about than not. But this is nonsense. This is absolutely, and I'm starting to hear people, in the alternative news sphere start to go like, well, it seems awful strange that they all happen on the same day. No, dude, maybe people are talking to it. Maybe everybody's pissed off about this, have been pissed off for 3 or 4 months, and it's a flashpoint. That also happens in history too. It doesn't have to be generated. And let's not delegitimize what they're protesting against. Let's not delegitimize these people who are being beaten by the fascist forces of, the militarized police forces at the behest of Netanyahu, frickin' Benjamin Netanyahu, Elon Musk retweeting Benjamin Netanyahu, telling people that, this is all these protests at the universities are akin to, Nazis in Germany. What? You say what? Sphincter says what? This this is such a anyways. So, though I'm sure that some people are trying to co-opt this movement, or and obviously use the movement for their own messaging, but this is absolutely stupid. Like, this is absolutely the dumbest shit. And when I hear people on alternative media start going like, "Oh yeah, it's kind of weird," these kids are all together. What? No, dude. Everybody's been pissed off about this for months and months and months, and now people are just so pissed off that they don't want to. They want to do something about it. This protest is legitimate. These people have legitimate concerns that pretty much everybody on the left and the right support. And you're conspiratorial, like overly skeptic ass. Well, I don't know though. It all happened at the same times. Just like the fires in Canada, so it couldn't be real. Man, shut up. Shut your ass. Seriously. What's happening is people are legitimately pissed off about something that the UN has already deemed a freaking human rights violation, has deemed it apartheid, deemed it genocide, and they don't want it to happen anymore. That's why they're doing it. And all the kids in the universities, they're all on the TikTok, and they're all on the right. Everybody's has ways of instant messaging each other and going like, "Hey, let's just do the same thing too. Hey, sounds good." And they're all doing it at the same time. That happens. So like, just stop with that shit. Just stop. Just fucking stop. And let's focus on the real issue at hand, the real freaking problem. Anyways, and I don't give a crap who's funding these. If somebody's funding these protests, it needs to be protested. I don't care who's behind it. It's fine. It's great. It's legitimate. It's real. Get to it. Get on it, because uh, the people who are in charge are asleep at the wheel. They're doing horrible, horrible things in our name. They're doing horrible, horrible things with our tax dollars. They need to be stopped. I don't give a crap who's funding it. If somebody's funding it, they're not. But they're, I don't care. Anyways, so dumb, so freaking dumb. Don't be an alternative news moron and and repeat that shit. Please don't do that. What the fuck? Anyways, I'm just cursing on a Friday. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. Uh I don't know. You could be so like it's funny because some people are so deep in like everything is fake, everything is a conspiracy. Like I get it, you want to be on high skepticism, high skeptical alert. I get it, but you delegitimize some things that are very very real and possibly beneficial in people's lives when when nothing passes the purity test. Everything is okay. Just like stop it. I mean, there's lots of conspiracies. Trust me, I'm very aware. I'm very aware. There's lots of things going on. There are lots of weird, but but somewhere in there are real intentions and real emotions and legitimate concerns, right? And you have to, you support people who are lining up with those legitimate concern. Come on, man. All right, let's get to this. Uh, before we, oh well, got a few more minutes left in the show. I did start kind of late, and I apologize. But if you support the show, um, if you like what's going down every day, if you like getting it for free every day, if you'd like to support the show, I could surely welcome. I welcome your support with open arms. If you want to support via donation and whatever denomination, you can do so. There are links below: PayPal, Venmo, Zelle, Cash App, and all that kind of good stuff. Coffees. You can super ray or super chat me, and all the people that support, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Let's see, Denver. Sorry, you got a lot of comments here. Just looking through it. Yeah, for sure. Yes, the leadership always gets cooked. Yes. Okay, so and also make sure to tune into my music show on Sunday. There's links in the chat, or just go to kevinsandbloom.com. That's all you got to do. Jeff Deli. Here's the problem: 99% of climate scientists agree the climate is warming, and humans, mainly due to the burning of fossil fuels, are the cause. But in the U.S., only 55% of people know that virtually all experts agree, called the consensus gap. Fueled by deliberate disinformation. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's a real thing. And yeah, just to go back to what I was musing on earlier. Amusing on. There's just too much, there's just too much evidence. There's not enough like serious people, there are not enough serious people challenging the science that the earth is warming. Or let's not even talk about the earth warming. Let's just talk about us, destroying the planet for profit. And that destruction having, pretty large effect. After doing that for 100 years, I mean, consider the magnitude at which we're creating pollution. All kinds of pollution, all the pollution everywhere on the planet. The forever chemicals and the plastics and the byproducts from making all these things, the chemical sludge that we continually pump out into the water, the air, the land. Consider that is, has been going on day after day, 24 hours a day for decades and decades and decades and decades. The idea that doesn't have a detrimental effect on the planet is one that I don't think that people are really. You really got to go hard to not see that that something is different, and even regular people can see it. Farmers can see it. I'm just, I'm waiting for somebody with a legitimate, study. The only people that, so there are other issues out there where the science have been challenged. The science has been challenged successfully, right? Where things that had a consensus in the narrative, in the mainstream narrative, were challenged by other scientists and other doctors and other people, prominent positions, and people who had, a lot of knowledge, brought forth legitimate arguments against what the mainstream consensus was. But with climate change, not so much, right? There isn't, not that I have heard, a well put together argument against it happening. And here's the difference, right? Like, so we'll tie this in with COVID a little bit, but right, the people that were really looking hard at like COVID and vaccines and stuff, right? Hey, RFK Jr., one of them, really looking hard at the situation, what is going on, what's happening with this, what, are we getting the wrong information? Are things being doctored? The people that were really looking at it, giving it a hard look, came to the conclusion like, yes, there's something is wrong about this narrative, right? That's the conclusion that the people that were looking very focused look at it. That's the conclusion they came to. Here's the thing. With climate change, the people that are really focused on what is going on with the planet and what we're doing to the planet, they're not coming to the conclusion that it's not a thing. They're coming to the conclusion that it's way worse than they're telling us. We're way farther down the line in planetary destruction than the powers that be are letting us know. Are letting on, right? Because the powers that be are like, oh, climate change is bad. Buy an electric car. Climate change is bad. Buy a new light bulb. Climate change is bad. Upgrade your stove, right? That's their answer. That's their answer. The powers that be. But the people that are really looking hard at climate change, the people that are taking a deep look at it, like really looking at all the information and looking at it, they're not coming to the conclusion like something's wrong here. That's not the conclusion they're coming to. Or this isn't the correct information. They're lying to us. That's not what they're lying to us, is the conclusion they're coming to, but the lie is not that it's not a thing. It's that it's really bad. We're, going down the tubes. It's happening faster than expected. Like, that's the conclusion that all the people that look really hard at this issue are coming to. You know, and I'm sorry to say, alternative media people that are like, well, it's just a hoax. You're not looking hard enough, bro. You're just not. You just glance. You know, you talk about all the other subjects in the world, and you glance over at climate change, and you go like, oh, that's just a bunch of hooey. Ha ha ha. What about the geoengineering? Like, you're not looking hard enough. You're just not. You're just not really like. You're not taking a deep dive. You're not really getting in there. You're not digging into the information. I'm sorry, you are not. Anyways, it's funny because Obsolete Optics the other day uh, tweeted out exactly that, what I said. The conspiracy is not that climate change is a hoax. The conspiracy is that it's way worse than they're letting us know. And the funny thing is, his tweet got like so much more like visibility and traction than like any of my. That's how you know I am being suppressed like a mofo. They're not letting anybody see my tweets or anybody see my videos or anybody. They like, I say that every freaking day. I say exactly that. I tweet stuff like that every freaking day. It just was hilarious to me that Obsolete Optics tweeted it out, and then like it got like a hell of traction. I was like, hey, I was right, or like way more people like saw that tweet than would ever see any of my tweets. It's just funny to me. Anyways, but it got out there. That's the information that needs to get out there. But, you know, somebody give me a legitimate reason to be skeptical of this, you know, because well, I don't want there to be no climate change. I want everything to be fine. You know, I would love for the future to just be what it's supposed to be. Right? That we all go forward and we make things better and people are all, you know. I don't see that though, right? I mean, there's things that I wish would happen, and then there's you know, and then there's like, well, what's the possibility of this happening based on real things happening in the world, right? Bella says quantum physics is a scam. I feel you on that. I really do. What are your reasons for saying that though? Just in 30 characters or less. No, I don't know. No, I mean I don't know if I think quantum physics is a scam. I just think that like something that is so theoretical, right? If there's a point like if there's a point at which you could apply quantum physics to, I don't know, and I might be just completely like off the beam right here. Is there a real world application for quantum physics? Because it's so theoretical. Like what do you, if it's just people talking about things that might be happening but you can't really see it, and it also changes whenever you look at it, then I you know, I'm sure it's applicable in science, right? It's there, you can apply quantum physics to something that you're working on, I guess. What do you think about quantum entanglement? Do you think that's a real thing? Quantum physics renormalized a formerly infinite energy density of the vacuum. Renormalized. Going South says quantum physics, time not running the way you think or learned at school. I mean, so let's just take time. How we I just feel like we experience time in a quantifiable way, which we can all agree on the passage of time, right? We can agree on the division of the hours, minutes, and seconds into a particular number, and we can go woo and talk about time and different timelines and different dimensions and all that kind of stuff. But like in the real world, it works. We all agree that time works a certain way, and that's really all you need to know about time, unless you want to know it in a different way. And if you can apply the concept of time in a different way so that it affects your life, great. I just don't see it. I don't see it. I see it affecting everybody the same way. So, I don't know. Bella says the strong nuclear force was concocted to be exactly what is needed to be. It is needed to be to overcome the electrostatic force. Right. I don't know. I saw I saw somebody a pretty interesting video about like quantum physics and how everything is moving and the particles, all particles are moving in a certain way, and that we're all made up of particles moving in a certain way. Okay, great. And I'm sure that people can, there are different ways to manipulate that, right? Like, you can manipulate it with outside force, right? Something mechanical that, something scientific. You can manipulate it probably with psychic force. I don't know. We should talk about we should talk about like remote viewing and other things someday. Nasty infinity makes for messy equations. They have computers running on quantum mechanics, do they? I don't know. I mean, all of this is to say, if we all partake in this thing that we're doing on the planet, right, and we are having an actual effect on how the planet is working. Like, I don't, what if our collective efforts in the real world have collective impacts, what does quantum mechanics or all of us meditating at the same time or all of us having like a psychic or a quantum or some effect on the, what is that? What does any of that mean? Right? Because I've seen, remember back in the day when they used to have like, a million people meditating at the same time for world peace. They sure did manifest a lot of world peace. Didn't they? No, they didn't, actually. They didn't. So, I mean, like, it's a lovely idea. It is a great idea. I meditate all the time. I like meditation in my personal life. I think it's, can be effective. But at the end of the day, what does it have to do? Hold on. Hold on one second. I'm going to end the show. I promise. And I promise that my questions, I feel like my questions make sense. So I'm reading Quantum Computing right now. Okay, I'm gonna just to make my point. Yeah, I mean, I feel like if you're one of the people meditating for peace, you're in a peaceful place. That there is more peace in the world as far as like what you're doing. Right? I'm sure a million people meditating at the same time is probably peaceful for the million people. Did it actually produce any peace on the planet? Heck no. Got to do something different. Or maybe you just need more people. I don't know. Maybe a billion people meditating for peace. Maybe that could do it. Yeah, quantum computers, I'm reading it and it's all theoretical. So yeah. Again, when the nuclear reactor melts down, I want you to go towards the reactor, not away from it, proving to me that radiation is perfectly harmless. And when you're ready to do that, let me know. If you're not willing to do that, then peace. Deuces. Then I guess your theory is a bunch of bullshit. So listen, classical physics cannot explain the operation of these quantum computers. And a scalable quantum computer could theoretically perform some calculations exponentially faster with respect to input size scaling than any modern classical computer. In particular, a large-scale quantum computer could break widely used encryption schemes and aid physicists in performing physical simulations. However, the current state of the technology is largely experimental and impractical, with several obstacles to useful applications. I rest my case. Judge and jury. If it's not good for anything, if it doesn't actually affect anything, then I agree with Osama. It's a scam. And what, it's largely theoretical and very interesting to think about. It's obviously very interesting to think about, but if it doesn't affect anything in the real world, then it's just, who fucking cares? Who freaking cares? At the end of the day, it's just like, oh, that's an interesting thing to listen to. Okay. Or think about. Great. Go for it. Enjoy yourself. But are you going to lean on it in a situation where hey, quantum computing, come on in, we need you? Yeah, it's not doing anything for anybody. Nope. Creative experiments. Richard Feynman explained 50 years ago that by the quantum computer gave you a result you could see. It's as fast as a regular computer. Okay. G. Demarest liked it when the guy that was asked to drink Roundup immediately after he said that it was harmless. Exactly. 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 If radiation is harmless, then book you a ticket to Fukushima as close as you can get and go camp there for a while. Prove to me it's harmless. You be the gerbil or whatever it is. The test gerbil. All right, guys. I don't know. We just talked about a bunch of random stuff today. But yeah, quantum physics makes me feel about the same way as a religious idea, which can make you feel totally fine and great. It could be actually very, religion makes people feel better, and if it makes you feel better, awesome, great. But when you apply religion to the real world, it doesn't really. Have I Googled pics of the Fukushima black bags? No, I haven't. I haven't. Anyways, guys, thanks so much. I appreciate you. Enjoy. Enjoy your weekend. And thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience. You want me to Google it right now? Oh, we should all have some cake and have a party? Heck yeah. I love cake. Hold on. I'll Google these. Black bags. Millions of bags of radioactive dirt that Japan has no plan for. Yeah. Why are they stacked up next to somebody's house, though? That's what I want to know. Nine million bags of radioactive dirt. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, shit. Whoa. That's a lot of bags. And I'm sure they bagged up all that dirt just because it was harmless. Oh, let me check and see if I got any some lovely donations today. I don't want to miss anybody. And hopefully, guys, if you want to thanks Lou on PayPal. Got a donation from Lou. Appreciate you. Hopefully I'll see you guys on Sunday if you want to come on over and watch some music on the Kevin Sandblum YouTube channel. And we run a little late today, but that's okay because I started a little late, so that's all good and fair, isn't it? All right, friends and neighbors, thank you for your eyes, your ears, and your conscience, and thank you for the conversation. Until next time, peace.